Hello everybody and welcome to G4G here on YouTube. Today we're discussing my reactions to Blizzcon 2017. So, a little bit of history with me and Blizzcon. I have been catching them now for many years. There have been a few years where I have actually not been working around the time of Blizzcon, and that sort of set the trend for me to watch BlizzCon. So, 2012, I had just lost my job where I was working at the time. Not that I lost it, basically my division was dissolved, so I happened to be able to catch it then without having to worry about work or anything like that. And it's kind of what set the trend for me. I don't know how many years I go back to watching the virtual ticket, but it's been a long time now at this point, and I think it is definitely several years in a row. And then 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, I know that 15 and 16 I was not working, so I was definitely watching those. This year I am, and I took a day off to watch it. And I honestly can't say I'm unhappy with that. The reason being is that we knew it was going to be a very World of Warcraft-centric BlizzCon. There had been many leaks ahead of that, and there had been many fake leaks ahead of that. But regardless, we knew the schedule was going to be pretty well dominated, especially in that first day. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, it looked like Diablo really was not present at all. I think Diablo maybe had a 1 hour slot the entirety of the 2 days of BlizzCon. So, my reactions to it. First off, we're going to talk about Diablo. Diablo was basically nothing, and I should go back and check whatever that was on the VOD just to give it its due props, but, you know, Diablo 3 is not the strongest thing with me. I've definitely completed it at least once. But I'm not one of those people who constantly run rifts and everything like that. But I knew enough about it to know that World of Warcraft's new Keystone system really took from rifts and Diablo and the modifiers and everything. So the next easiest thing for me to talk about would be Hearthstone. We have the announcement of... How do you make them swap? I know you can make them swap. I guess that kind of sucks. I thought I could make him swap. Spacebar? No. Can't seem to make him swap into his Worgen form over here. Don't know what it is that does it at the screen. Cool skins though. I love these Vampire Hunter skins for her. Especially this one. The Midnight. They're cool as shit. I love them. They're really good skins for her. Anyway, so for Hearthstone, when it first came out, I had a decent deal of excitement for it. I was a Magic player. I do own some physical WoW cards before Hearthstone ever came out. Not that I've ever been able to play anything with it, but I have some from the original vanilla set that popped out. And I think I was very, very excited of the tech of it being both on the PC and being mobile on tablets and everything like that. But it sort of didn't really stick with me a hell of a lot. The best adventure that I ever did was actually Naxxramas. Like, I'm a good chunk of the way through Naxxramas, but the others... not really. I don't own anything from League of Explorers or Ungoro, but they released the fact that they're going to be Kobolds and Catacombs. During the video, at first I thought it was maybe going to be like the Dark Below. It seemed to be hinting that it was very... That's a very good skin for him. That's Sulfurous. It seemed to be that it was going to be, like, very underground and very dark, very dank, and not weed dank. And I was saying, oh, this is going to be like the Dark Below or something like that, or like Under Kingdom. It actually turned out to just be standard dungeons. So it's being called Kobolds and Catacombs, taking obviously as a riff on Dragons and Dungeons in Blizzard's order. So of course we know it is Dungeons and Dragons. They're clearly riffing on that. And it's going to be very interesting. It's $50 to get, I think, 50 packs right now as a pre-order. However, the adventure part of it will be free. They said it's going to feature rogue-like elements in the sense that when you are doing the PvE part of it, you start off facing a boss with a weak deck. If you beat it, you get more cards to strengthen your deck. And then when you beat it, you kind of have a branching path that you can choose during the demo. The guy talking about it was like, hey, so audience, where do we want to go? Do we want to go down the hall that's on fire, or do we want to go down the hall that is dripping with ooze and maybe has like an ooze creature at the end of it? And I do believe that's actually one of Kobolds and Catacombs' new cards, is like Gelatinous Cube or something like that. It kind of looks like an angry Mario Stompy Blanc, a Stompy. Okay, let's try and say that again. Stompy Block. Those, you know, the black spike ones that just fall from the ceiling and they raise up and they fall again. Certainly going to be an interesting expansion pack. Some of the cards do seem pretty cool. I do believe I've seen some of them. There's like a 10 mana one that's looks legitimately crazy. So that's pretty much what's going on there with Hearthstone, is that it's going to be kind of like a pick your own adventure, whereas the other adventures have always been linear. You know, if you were doing ICC, you fought Marigar and then you moved on from there. If you were doing Karazhan, you fought the Silverware Golem and then you proceeded on from there. And let's see, what is the new one that I'm doing currently that I'm sucking at? Yeah, the Kel'Thuzad one and everything. The Kel'Thuzad expansion where you go through the prologue and then the first guy that I'm fighting is the one that has the hero power that says, for 0, recharge your health. Yeah, I just don't put the time into Hearthstone to make it as big of a Blizzard game for me as some of the others. They went on to say then the next easiest one, that would be StarCraft, would be free to play. The base StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, would be free to play. They didn't talk really too much about StarCraft Remastered because I believe that was really last year's BlizzCon that talked about it. So, again, not really affected there. I played through all of Wings of Liberty and did a good chunk of Heart of the Swarm. And, again, just kind of, it faded out on me. I really do like the StarCraft series. I have nothing against it. I certainly played the shit out of the original StarCraft and Brood Wars. A friend of mine, when I lived up in Richmond, had said that this is the first time I've ever heard of anything like this, and I've never heard of anything since. She was playing StarCraft, and she had the CD in because you would get the CD audio, and she heard something a little weird from her CD-ROM tray. It sounded like it spun really fast, and then there was kind of like a chunk, and the music stopped. So when she finally exited out of the game, and the CD would not eject, she shut the PC off, pulled out the CD-ROM bay. You know, we were IT, so we knew very much how to do all this kind of shit. And she had to paperclip the door open, and when she opened it, the CD came out of the tray literally like Cheerios. The CD-ROM shattered, and I'd never heard of anything like that before, because I can imagine cracking a CD-ROM or shattering it from physical impact, but something happened in her CD-ROM drive. Maybe it just accidentally spun too fast or something, and it just blew up. And she basically had like glass shards, like safety glass from a windshield, coming out of her CD-ROM tray. I thought that was really ridiculous and funny. Didn't know the physics behind that one. So yeah, I mean, that could certainly be interesting. I think it's at a part where it can go free to play and might introduce new people to it. And who knows what will happen from there. I mean, it is certainly... It's hard to say whether that's King RTS nowadays. I've heard some complaints about the new Warhammer game, saying that they changed it too much, so maybe it beats that, but I don't really know where StarCraft 2's position is in RTS outside of South Korea. So, on from there, we have Heroes of the Storm. It's probably the next easiest one to talk about. And in Heroes of the Storm, we are getting Genji, and we're getting Alexstraza. Now, Genji joins... Excuse me, not Genji. We're getting Hanzo, or Hanzo. So, we're getting Hanzo and Alexstraza, and in the video, essentially Alexstraza and Hanzo are having a duel, which kind of makes Hanzo out to be the bad guy when you're watching it, and then... Spoiler alert, you may want to go watch the trailer before you continue with this, because I'm going to spoil the end of it. So, it's up to you now. At the end, Hanzo beats Alexstraza by doing his ultimate like a typical Hanzo main. And she's like, okay, that's cool. I think you're ready. And then they look out over a gigantic world that is all the maps of HOTS, and you see cruiser reporting, like that's portaling in from like a StarCraft universe, and you see like some WoW stuff coming in, and they're looking out, I think from Dragonshire, looking out over the rest of the maps, and she's like, yeah, you're ready, let's go do this. So Hanzo seems to be exactly what you would expect from him. I believe maybe his left click will charge up the arrow. It'll probably maybe go further, do more damage. You're not going to have fall off in HOTS. Not gravity fall off the way that you would in like Overwatch. I think he is going to have his scatter arrow. He's certainly going to have at least one ultimate that is his twin dragons, which is kind of what you would expect. I'm not too sure what his other ultimate is yet. Alexstraza is the one that has me completely bona fide. Hanzo I don't care about. I get my fill of Hanzo in Overwatch. I rarely ever use him. I'm not much of a Hanzo main. As a matter of fact, the characters that are here in HOTS, I do Zarya a lot. I Lucio all the time. Lucio and Junkrat are definitely two of my highest. I do have some good games as D.Va, I do go to Ana on certain maps, and I like never Genji, and I never Tracer, really. I've probably spent more time on Tracer here in HOTS and Overwatch, but Alexstraza, the reason why I'm excited for her is due to the fact that a lot of what we're seeing out of Alexstraza is how I always kind of imagine that Deathwing would be, if Deathwing ever came to HOTS. Two things I've always wanted in HOTS was Deathwing, and a druid that was a hybrid bear-cat. Malfurion's kind of a hybrid Boomkin Resto, but I've always wanted a bear-cat druid, and considering that Varian is truly a multi-class, where in battle you choose whether he's a warrior or assassin, I would love to see a druid do that, maybe Brawl Bear Mental. Like, you can choose bear talents or choose cat talents. Cat would be stealth. Bear would, be a tank. Maybe another one with a taunt mechanic, but unfortunately they gave that to Garrosh recently. So now there's 2 taunts in the game and the chance of a bear having it. But Deathwing is also one of the ones I wanted, and I just kind of had this imagination of a relatively decent-sized dragon flying over the field and doing stuff, and Alexstraza is going to do it. She's actually going to come in as support. She sacrifices her own health to heal people, and she has the ability to gain it back. Apparently, her trait is to go into dragon form, which I absolutely love. Really excited for that. It's funny. They talked about, we do too much in HOTS, and they had a slide up of a circle. and then it had a big circle inside of it and a couple smaller ones and a medium one. He says, this is what we do now. And what happens is things get overshadowed. We release a hero, but then people kind of forget that there's a new map, or that we changed the UI, or that we did a hero rework and stuff. So we're going to calm that down and make things more linear. This way we can really have big focus on a patch, or really have big focus on a patch that does a hero rework and not have it get overshadowed by the hero that just got released ahead of it. They say that, and then they talk about Hanzo and Alexstraza. Hopefully they separate the two of them out far enough. The reason being is I don't think Hanzo's going to get a whole lot of love with a fucking dragon rolling around. Heroes of the Storm. I just can't imagine it, especially what Alexstraza is, what she's capable of. I mean, she can turn into a damn dragon, and she breathes fire on people. One of her ultimates is to take to the air like Medivh and literally B-52 carpet bomb the area for a little while. And if she hits allies, yeah, I'm re-rolling this. Look at that. 3 duplicates. Good duplicates, too. I mean, Succubus Kerrigan and SI7 Bloodfang. But if she hits an ally, she heals them. If she hits the enemy, she... Oops, I hit accept instead of re-roll. She damages them. And she has the ability to put people on fire. If somebody's already on fire and she hits them again, it does... Really? I get an epic and it's... Okay, so this one I'm actually going to re-roll. It's going to do more damage. So, Alexstraza looks to be a lot of fun. And she also looks like she could potentially be an extremely hardy healer. Whereas, like, Anna, I mean, goddamn, if you dive on Anna, she's dead. There's not a whole lot she could do. So, really looking forward to Alexstraza. Hanzo, I don't care about that much, considering it could potentially be a Tyrande without the heals. Overwatch. Of course, in Overwatch, they said we're getting a new map called Blizzworld, which I'm really thrilled to go through that. I would love to see a Blizzworld in real life. I think, honestly, Blizzard would be capable of doing it. With all their universes, it could very well be a mini Disneyland. I mean, I can't imagine exactly all the rides you could do, but I mean, between Heroes of the Storm and Diablo and the Lost Vikings and Blackthorn and Rock and Roll Racing, if you go that far back, nobody talks about that anymore. Yeah, you could have a Blizzard World. I truly believe you could. I mean, like, the water side of it could definitely be related to Murky or Murlocs in some way, like Captain Murky Splashdown or High Mountain Log Flume Ride. It'd be great. So, and we're also getting Moira, the hero. Or not really a hero, kind of an anti-hero. So, Moira's coming up, and she's gonna be a ginger, some people are saying. She is kind of amorphous in her sexuality and everything like that. I was just like, alright, here we go. Kind of androgynous, Ziggy Stardust look to her. I mean, I heard the name Moira and I saw her and I immediately thought female. I didn't really think it was that androgynous, but she's kind of on the Talon side of things. She's going to be like an evil support as compared to a lot of the support now, which is all on the good side. I mean, Lucio is constantly happy and everything like that. And of course, Mercy seems like happy altruistic, that kind of dumb happy, like she knows she's out there to heal and that's really all she does, and she's just kind of dumb happy about it. So, it's nice to have somebody on the bad side, and she looks like she's going to be able to do quite a great deal of damage. I've heard some people at BlizzCon who played her who said her ultimate's gonna, like, definitely be capable of team wipes. So she should be... she might be just a lot of fun. And I think she's gonna have a relatively high skill cap, which could be interesting. What I find weird is she actually reminds me of some other heroes that are out there in the world in other games. So a lot of people, of course, they look at a game and they're like, oh, you know, this character took from Overwatch. This is a this and this is a that. And, you know, this is an Overwatch clone. Finally, Moira, I kind of think, reminds me of some heroes in other games. Kind of reminds me of Ceres and Paladins. Reminds me of two different people in Gigantic. The one with the orbs, kind of like Zenyatta's orbs, and she punches herself for healing. And also Vidasi, the squid lady, because she does some beaming stuff too. So it's actually interesting to see Overwatch, for a change, kind of do some things that you could say, hey, you know, it copied from this game or this character. So I just think that's a little interesting. I'm very excited to play her, very excited to get into Blizzworld. I would love to see the map. Parts of it remind me of very TF2-ish. There's a part there where you come up to the first control point, and there is a kind of there is a high ground area that had like a little bit of a mine track going to it, and it just really, really reminded me of TF2. I think maybe Thunder Road or something was the name of the map. So that is going to be fun. I'm really, really interested in playing her. Really interested in seeing Blizzworld. Now, World of Warcraft is the very reason why I was very interested in this particular BlizzCon. I'm going to pop out of HOTS, and I just want to show you guys my favorite moment of BlizzCon 2017. I want to share this with you because this is it. That right there, I have watched this probably about a dozen times since BlizzCon has happened. And it's Sunday, BlizzCon was Friday. I don't know what it is, but the Sylvanas sequence of this trailer literally gets me emotional. I'm speechless to try and express why that happens. I don't really know, because it's immediately kind of shut down by this part over here where the orc, that roar and the look on his face just kind of makes him look stupid. And it's like really sad that orcs constantly get portrayed that way. But then the happiness comes back again when the shaman does Earthquake. And then the Tauren comes in. The only kind of part I didn't like about this is that the Tauren kind of really reminds me of the Minotaurs from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Narnia movies over there. And of course, they were the bad guys in that. But it seemed very Minotaur-ish. And then even though I don't play Alliance in any way, shape, or form, I do admit the Anduin sequence over here at the end with the bubble, and honestly, the animation for this is so high level and so beautiful that even if you are for the Horde and you don't play Alliance and you don't like Alliance, you have to give Blizzard so much props for this animation and how realistic Anduin looks in this half a minute or so here. I mean, his expression, the quality of the animation, the tears, even like Greymane's happiness over there. I think Greymane looks amazing there too. You know, of course, it fucking sucks. It cheats. It's a mass res in combat that kind of undoes all the work that Sylvanas just did there. But so much props for this trailer. This is, I think, the best trailer they've ever done. And it's funny, you know, I went back 10 years to see the TBC trailer, and even that animation still holds up. Like, do yourself a favor, go back and look at the TBC trailer, and the animation is still damn good. This, however, I mean, if you look down in the comments of this, everybody is like, please God, do a movie with this. Screw the live action, make this into a movie. This quality of animation, this level of animation. And I would agree. I think it's absolutely amazing, but it's that Sylvanas sequence over there, that like 10 seconds of her just going batshit insane. And, you know, the parkour down the tower, the shot that blows up the inner working of the tower, which is so Lord of the Rings-ish. If you remember the orc siege towers that come up to Gondor and just are beating the shit out of it and flinging rocks and everything into the... Well, they have ballista that are flinging the city out against them. But then they had, of course, their own towers and everything. But, yeah, the cinematic absolutely gets me. And the Sylvanas sequence, it just gets me emotional. And it's not just the For the Horde roar, which is what a lot of people point out. It is... It's also the Banshee scream. And when she just hits the ground in that purple-black smoke and everybody's just dissolving around her, it's badass. I mean, even if you're Alliance and you like the Anduin part, you have to admit the Sylvanas part is pretty fucking good. So, what they announced for this BlizzCon is, of course, they didn't really deal with Antorus, which I kind of thought maybe they would to some degree, but, you know, we expected them to talk about the next expansion. We thought it was time. And they did. We're getting Battle for Azeroth. It seems to be a very Horde vs. Alliance-centric expansion. The bad thing is, BFA really reminds me of MoP. It reminds me of MoP because it's Horde and Alliance fighting over a resource, Azerite, whereas, you know, we were fighting essentially over everything about MoP, including the pandas themselves. We're going to have Zandalari trolls on the Horde side, so we're going to have sub-races. And Horde are getting mountain cows, high mountain cows. We're getting Zandalari trolls. And we are getting the Nightfallen, whereas Alliance are getting light touch squid people, dark iron dwarves that look like cubes, and they are getting the void touched elves, which is what Illyria essentially turns into after the most recent 5-man. So, you know, I'm happy with the races. My main, who is a druid, might convert over to high mountain cow. Especially if the aesthetics are good, and I'll know in the beta, obviously, if I want to do that. But I get very triggered with a lot of MoP-oriented stuff. The reason being is MoP was a really bad expansion for my guild. We let a group of people into the guild that were very progression-minded, but at the same time were assholes. And their attitudes pushed a lot of people out. They caused a lot of drama within the guild. And then, of course, as that type is wont to be, you know, wound up leaving, and then kind of it infected some other people in the guild who had left with them. So mop really triggers me. I was over mop very quick. It was overplayed with me very quick. I leveled in the beta to the cap. Then the girlfriend got into the beta, so I went back and played with her as she leveled. We even started doing dailies, and then it came out live, and I hit the cap, and again, went backwards. I was dual boxing my account, her account a little bit, so it's like by the time I had hit the cap in mop, and, you know, was maybe about halfway through my reputations, which were so important, I was already just so over the game, and then the aesthetic started to get to me, and the music, and the people, and Siege of Argrimmar lasted way too long. What the guild went through in that, it's just like, I'm so over mop, and there's a lot of very mop-ish stuff coming in Biffa. And it's the Zandalari trolls trigger the shit out of me, because that just reminds me of the Isle of Thunder and the Throne of Thunder instance, which did seem to last quite a long time, and that's actually where a lot of the shitty people in the guild really were the most issue, was normal Throne of Thunder for me. And I mean, I'm going to certainly play it. It's not like I'm going to give up on the game, but I'm certainly I'm going to be triggered for some time. Special of Zandalari troll stuff, which is what the Horde starts off with. They also announced vanilla servers. Or a vanilla server. And there's going to be a lot of questions on that. First of all, you got to throw props back to you think you want it, but you don't. I guess not. Some of the questions that arise from that is, you know, okay, so you're going to do a vanilla server. Can you get a mount or an achievement in a vanilla server that becomes then account-wide? Like, if you never got a Zolian Tiger, can you go back and get a Zolian Tiger and have it be account-bound? That's a serious question. What version of Vanilla WoW are we going to have? An early version? A middle version? A late, like right before TBC popped? Post-AQ gate opening? Will you have the chance to open your AQ gates? Like, what about add-ons? Like, there's so much that is out there to think about when it comes to a vanilla WoW server. And for me, I can't go back again. I have my memories that can't be touched. I remember what it was like to come out of Thunderbluff into the Barrens for the first time and see those Thunder Lizards, and they were 18, and like you were 12, and like, oh god, don't get off the road. And the stupid Nelf Kitty Patrol in Southern Barrens would always come and rape you if you were like AFK on the road, and the dwarf area was so tough to break into at the time. And coming out of Stone Talon into Desolus, my god, humping over that hill the first time and seeing the brown give way to that gray nothingness, and just being like breathless and like, oh my god, look at this place, and the Kodo graveyard, and my first foray into Silithus before it was even built up, you know, coming up out of Ungoro Crater and going into Silithus, and then in Silithus seeing the jackal-headed dudes walking around again before they had even done anything with AQ. So it's very interesting to think of where, you know, what vanilla are we going to get? Are we going to get a progressive vanilla where maybe they start with the beginning of vanilla where a lot of stuff wasn't available quite yet? Like the raid wasn't available, ZG wasn't available. Dungeons, some dungeons were raids. Ubers, Elbers, Skoloman, Stratholme. They were raids at the time, basically. So, you know, like which one are we going to get? I kind of think one of the best things they could do is make a progressive vanilla server. Day one, make it a patch or two into vanilla's history, and over a year, 2 years, patch it up to something modern. That would really give people the vanilla experience. I mean, for me, my first 60 was 23, it was my hunter, 23 days. Not 23 American calendar days, 23 days of 24 hours. That's the math in my first 60. Now my last 60, which was my Warlock, was only 13 days. But shit, you had to buy gold at that time to get an epic mount. Are they going to do that? Are they going to have you walking everywhere for 40 levels? Are they going to still have the original price of epic mounts and the gold cost? Or are we going to see those mounts that don't exist in the game anymore, like the white Kodo that started off? Are they going to have the glitches? Are you going to glitch into Hyjal? Are you going to glitch into the Caverns of Time? Are you going to have all the wall walking exploits you used to have, like Dopeaholics, or Nagaholics and Dopefish exploration? There are so many questions. You could sit there and ask their vanilla dev team questions for probably 5 hours. And because their responses would take a while, and then it would spawn another question you didn't have planned. I mean, it's going to be amazing. Is it going to be late WoW, where if you raided Molten Core, Horde were getting Pally drops that we couldn't use, and Alliance were getting Shaman drops? Let's not forget about that. The pre-TVC patch where cross-faction gear started dropping. We didn't have Paladins yet at that point, but if you raided Molten Core and stuff, you were getting Paladin gear, and it was like, okay, what are we going to do here? So, you know, or is it going to be the AQ40 where they were able to glitch from the beginning through the wall and be right at Cthulhu? Amazing, isn't it? So, there's a lot of questions on that. I can't go back there, because anything that I would want to see for nostalgic reasons would take so much time to get there. You know, it would be interesting to see original Wailing Caverns again, sneaking into Stormwind to do the stockades when we weren't supposed to get there, doing Van Cleef, Dead Mines, because you can't call it DM, that became Dire Maul. That's another one. Dire Maul was not in the beginning of the game. That opened up and was the big thing, like pre-Molten Core, like you got all your fire resist gear out of there. This bothered me, by the way. Wrath had like a split second in this retrospective, and all the others were so much longer. That bothered me, that Wrath was like half a second compared to the other ones I had like 5. There's nostalgic stuff that would be great, but I mean, I wouldn't want to live there, and I wouldn't want to do the 0 to 60 all over again just for some of the nostalgic items, that axe in ZG that my shaman used, the mace that came out of like some of the Stratholme quests, the Plaguelands quests that I think maybe stun people or like put them to sleep or something. The glory days of where you could wear that green something leather armor as a bear druid in Warsong Gulch and put people to sleep if they attacked you. That would be part of the vanilla experience, but like, that was patched and fixed at a certain point where it only worked on people of a certain level. Are we going to get the vanilla that's pre that patch, or are we going to get the vanilla that's post that patch? So there's so much, and I mean, this guy just said, please bear with us, you know, we got a lot. He's right. I mean, there is a lot of internal dialogue that's going to occur in Blizzard about what exactly a vanilla server is going to entail. And, you know, it's going to be interesting. Are they going to go back to the division between Spirit and MP5? Are they going to fix some of the things that clearly were not really, you know, going forward, they're just not going to use, like Spirit on the Valor set for Warriors. You know, they said, oh, well, if you ate, it made you, you know, eat faster, or your hit points went up quicker, or something like that. But, yeah, it really is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with Blizzard servers. And I don't honestly think I would play there. I really don't. I hope Battle for Azeroth keeps me engaged enough that I'm not tempted, and I certainly wouldn't want to do the 1 to 60 grind. If I had like a pre-leveled 60 that I could jump right into, or like a boost or something like that, then I might go around and poke at stuff. But if you check out my channel, if you search like Napalm Dom and WoW Exploration, you will see some videos that I did back in the Wrath of the Lich King era where I flew over old vanilla WoW pre-Cataclysm, and you'll see just how bad it is, like how lazy the devs were if they didn't think somebody was going to see something. It's really interesting, but check out Nagaholic, check out Dopefish, check out my exploration videos, and you get to see some of how cheesy, technically, vanilla WoW was. But that's pretty much my BlizzCon experience. I'm really sad that Korea took Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm. I really had hope for Roll20. And, you know, when we got through Ballistics, I really thought maybe we would come through over there. But we had one side that got put down by Europe. We had another side that got put down by Korea. And then in Overwatch, Korea takes the grand finals. And, you know, we had issues getting out of the blocks too. I really hoped Canada would take it over. Or was it France? No, Canada was the one who was facing Korea in the finals. I'd hoped somebody would knock them down, seeing my two favorite esport games within Blizzard have a double Korean final like that, especially when they were just hours, not even hours apart, they were minutes apart. The finals were running concurrently. That was sad. But I think I'm going to go back and watch some of the panels and everything. I've watched the cosplay. The person who won the cosplay, that Hogger, was absolutely amazing. The Rainer really deserved to be up there, and the Hogger was fantastic too. I mean, the physical appearance, the detail in the cosplay, the physicality of it, the motions was perfectly like Hogger, or like a you know, a hyena in World of Warcraft. It was really, really good. The live talent, I'm not as happy with how that one wound up. I think the guy and girl couple were a little bit better than the guy who would wind up winning. And the rap group was a little higher than I would have wanted compared to some of the other two. But, yeah, the cosplay was great. So, that's my BlizzCon 2017 experience, guys. Let me know what you think. What were your high points? And specifically, let me know what you think of the Sylvanas portion of the Biffa trailer here. Take care, everybody.